Hey everybody, Carla with Karla's Clever Crafts again. Today in this video we're going to make a centerpiece, or a piece that you can use on your end tables. We're going to use this cute little leprechaun hat, and I have a lot of other embellishments and things we're going to be adding to this, including some lights, and we're going to make a bow and go over how to add those. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind everybody, watch to the end of my video, and I have a little reward to thank you for watching my entire video. That is only available to people who watch my videos on Facebook and YouTube. I have videos in both places. I also wanted to mention I'm doing a giveaway currently on my Facebook business page, Karla's Clever Crafts, spelled all with a K. This wreath up above my head here is what I will be giving away. It is a large wreath, about 30 inches, probably about 8 inches thick. It's made on a pine base. It has lots of embellishments and things. It's really gorgeous. Then if you like my videos and want to see more like this, please be sure, if you're watching on Facebook, to like and share the video. Follow my page, Karla's Clever Crafts, so that you can get notifications of when I have new live videos. And then if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that it'll give you notifications of my future videos as soon as I upload them. Also on YouTube, you can like and share the video. If you want to make this project in the future, it shares it to your page. It's an easy way for you to be able to find it later, so that you can go back and make your own. Okay, now that I've covered those few basic things, we'll get started. I'm going to turn the camera down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to take just a moment and try to get my comments loaded. Okay, like I said, we're going to be using this cute little leprechaun hat, and this is going to serve as the base for the centerpiece, so we'll sit on the table like that, and we're going to have some flowers and lots of things to decorate this with. We're going to also be using a strand of wire lights. Now these wire lights, the leprechaun hat came from the Dollar Tree, but these wire lights I actually got from Amazon. These are a new discovery for me. I absolutely love them. I bought a 10-pack. They use 2 batteries, and they came out to about $2 per set of lights, and the batteries were included with the lights. They also have 5 or 6 different modes, which I'll try to show you. I'm not so sure how that'll show up on the screen, but you press the button and you get your solid light, and you press it again and you get different effects. This one is like a slow blinking. And then you have like the twinkling. And then that's a twinkle, but just a little bit faster. And then that one is like a slow dim, where it goes off and comes on. And then I think we're back to the solid light, and then one more click turns them off. So for $2, I got 30 LED lights on this strand, which is pretty good size. In comparison, if you buy the wire LED lights at the Dollar Tree, you only get 12 of the LED lights. This set has 30. But the batteries were included with this, and they came to like $2 per set. So Amazon for the win on a much better value on the lights. These are probably what I'm going to go with from now on. I'm probably going to not purchase the Dollar Tree lights anymore since discovering these. In addition to the lights, we are going to add a bow to embellish our centerpiece. And I have these 3 really pretty ribbons that we're going to use. If I can get the other one out here so you can see it. These all are St. Patrick's Day specific. I have different patterns. And I'll give you the size and measurements of those when we actually proceed with making the bow. And then we have these beautiful carnation flowers. They're designed specific for St. Patrick's Day. Now these came from the Dollar Tree, and I think you get 4 flowers on a bundle, And then I think they also come, some colors have like the gold coins. You get a couple of those. And then I think the white ones come with foam green shamrocks attached to them as well. I've already cut these off the bunches to get ready for today. We may incorporate some of this. This is also from the Dollar Tree, but I bought this last year, I think, or the year before. It is simply a balloon weight, but we're going to harvest all these little pretty spirally things with shamrocks on them and possibly use those. I'm going to be designing this as we go today, so I may show you some things that I decide ultimately not to use. We also have some greenery. These are actually, if I can show you, they're clovers. So perfect greenery to use in our shamrock centerpiece. They come in either all light green or all dark green, or you can get one that has a mixture of the light and dark green together. I found these at the Dollar Tree. I just got these this week, and this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this at the Dollar Tree. Maybe they had it in the past and I just didn't see it, but I think this may actually be a new item this year, which I absolutely love for the greenery for my St. Patrick's Day projects. We also have some shamrock picks that we're going to be using. Not sure how many of those, but I wanted to make sure we had plenty laid out here. And then we have some little foam gold coins. The Dollar Tree sells packs of these foam shamrocks and gold coins together. I probably get about 15-20 pieces per pack. So that's a pretty good value. And then because these are not on a pick, I'm going to show you a trick that I use to make picks with this type of item when I need to, just from scrap, without spending any extra money. Then I have some gold beads that we may or may not use depending on how it looks and what I want in our final result. And then I also have some of these green berries. Again, we may or may not use those. Okay, so we'll get started. I have basically just a piece of foam, styrofoam. It came in something that we purchased and I just kept it to use for future projects. And out of that piece of foam, I've cut a small square. Let's see, I wanted to tell you measurements of this. So my square is about 2.5 inches by 2 inches. And then we're going to use that up on the inside of this base to get things, so that we have something to secure things into. We're also going to be using glue. So we'll make it extra sturdy by using both. Okay. Also the hat that we're using, just so you have an idea of what the base measurements are, it's about 6 inches wide, including the brim, and about 5 inches tall. So it's not very big, but it's super adorable. Start by cutting off our tag. Okay. So with the lights, when I was playing around with this earlier, I had decided, I was trying to figure out how to add them. And in doing so, I decided that I wanted to run some of them around the brim of my hat on the inside and the brim of my hat on the outside. So to do that, I found the front of my hat with the little buckle on it here, and I started right inside to the left of the buckle. I'm putting my lights up inside of this hole and just running it through the tinsel here at the bottom. So I'm pulling it up through there so that I can pull it to the outside and then wrap around the brim. So I'm probably going to pull through about 10 lights. Work it through there carefully so you don't tear up your hat. 6, 7, 8. And untangle your lights. There we go. So 8, 9, 10. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure those. It's hard to work up in here to secure inside, which would be, well, we might actually be able to do that. That would be my natural preference. Another thing that you can do is just secure it right here at the corner base of the hat. I think for demonstrating, that's the way that I will do it. Somewhere I have zip ties. Well, maybe we will just use, I have where I make my deco mesh wreaths, I cut off little pieces of pipe cleaner all the time. I save those for instances like this so that I can reuse them or use them and not waste them. So I'm just going to poke it down through, bend it over, and poke it down through on the other side of the lights. So we end up with the pipe cleaner coming through the bottom, 2 pieces. And I've kind of gotten, it's right on a little crossbar here on the hat. And I have the lights held securely in there, so I'm just going to give my pipe cleaner several good twists to secure that light set, making sure I twist it tight down towards the hat. And then we can just tuck this extra, just tuck it right back inside so that's not sticking out. Okay, so then now our lights are secured and that's what it looks like. Okay, before I wrap the brim, I'm going to take all the rest of these lights and I'm going to push them to the inside because I want to light up the inside of this hat. I'll spread them out a little bit. They don't have to be perfect for this part. I'm literally just pushing them up through the hole. Sure that you don't get your tin that you want left out to wrap around the brim. Now these are the cool white lights. I think that they did also have the warm white available, and for this project I kind of wish I had the warm, but so far I'd only ordered the cool, so I'm just going to go ahead and use these today. Now when you push your lights up inside, do not put your battery pack in there just yet. So we want the last light to go in, but we want to then use this piece of wire between that light and the battery pack to secure it again. I'm going to secure it to this crossbar here on the base of the hat. And since I did finally see where I had my zip ties, I'll go ahead and use one of those this time. The pipe cleaner actually was nice though because it blends in well with the base of the hat. Make sure you have your zip tie turned the right way so you can actually zip it. Hold your light where you want it so you can keep that last light up on the inside. It keeps trying to come out. Okay, so I'm going to hold it in there. and zip tie that down. So then you have your little battery pack just kind of hanging here. Make sure that's real tight. And then I use a little pair of wire cutters just to snip my pipe cleaners off. I don't use my scissors because I don't want to damage my blade or dull them. Okay, and then that's what it looks like with the zip tie. Fairly noticeable. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do is the little white piece of foam that I showed you. We're going to place that inside. Now we're going to keep the battery pack out when we do this. And the reason that I gave you the measurements for this piece of foam is because this foam, when you press it down in here, fits nice and snug and sits right there at the hole. So to the side of it here, we're going to actually slide our battery pack right up in there. Whoops, we'll have to go to the other side. There. So I'm just pushing the piece of styrofoam down a little bit, and then our battery pack will fit right inside there. Just like that. So that way, after you turn your lights on, you can hide your battery pack and not have it underneath your hat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the battery pack back out for now. And I'm going to run a little bit of glue on the edge of my styrofoam here and push it over to hold it in place to secure that spot to hide the battery pack. I'm just pressing it down onto the side. Be careful that the glue doesn't come through and burn your fingers. I'm just going to hold it there until it secures. And now we've left a nice little opening here that that's the other thing that's very advantageous about this. This battery pack opens easily. You don't have a screw to worry about stripping, which I've done I don't even know how many times. On those Dollar Tree lights, and then it's smaller, so it's easier to hide it inside of projects like this. Oh, I need to push that back down. It came loose. I'm just pressing kind of hard so that I can get some type of bonding to hold that piece of styrofoam in place. And then if you can, I'm not sure if this will show on camera, but now the top of the inside of it is lit up. Actually, some of the lights came out the top, which just gave me another idea. We could pull some of these up and have them going throughout our display if we wanted to. Give that some thought. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. So now the pieces that we pulled through in the beginning, I'm first going to wrap around the black part of the brim on the inside just to give it a few lights around the outside. And then I need to secure that, so I'm going to, because that's going to be visible on the top here, I'm going to do that with a piece of pipe cleaner so that it blends in. I just did it the exact same way I did when I started the lights. Push it down. You have two pieces. Just hold it down from this side, and then just twist your pipe cleaners tightly. And you're holding that knot there so that you're tightening it down to the hat. Then take the ends and just push them up in. You want to push them up so far that they poke out the top, but just to disguise them and hide them within the tinsel that's on the hat. Like that. Okay, now that I've done that, I want to go on the outside brim of the hat and also do a row of lights. So you're going to just bring your wire where you was running on the inside, you're just going to come to the outside here. I'm going to fasten this right next to the first light. And again, I'm going to use a little piece of the pipe cleaner. Snip a little bit of that off so it's less to tuck in, and then just push that up in. So then I'm going to come on around the brim with the wire, probably halfway between the next two lights here. I'm going to secure it again with another piece of my leftover zip tie. Cut off the extra and push that up in there. Come on around. Now I want to make sure that these are going to stay on the brim. So I'm going to go ahead and secure it again between the next two lights. I'm actually going to cut this in half, and then I probably won't have excess waste. So just two little pieces. And it looks like by doing 10 lights, it's going to wrap around maybe twice on this outer brim. So you could either do less lights so that you only had one wrap around, or you can just do two on the inside where the black is. Or you can do what I'm going to do and just keep going around the brim until you run out of lights. Push that down in. Keep going around. Let's see, so yeah, I'm going to attach it right here. I'm afraid to go too far and leave my lights loose. Now these little pieces of pipe cleaner are a little bit harder to work with, but I prefer to reuse what I can and not waste. Now here's where I'm starting to overlap, but I think that's going to be okay. It'll still look fine. I might need to get some more. This, for example, is my bag of all the pieces of pipe cleaners that I cut off when I do my deco mesh wreaths. So I'm just going to reach in here and get me some more of these to use on this project. I'm going to actually show you another way that I also use these when we get to the bow. Okay, so now we'll grab one. That one's probably too short to cut in half, so I'm not going to press my luck on that. There's no rhyme or reason to the way I'm, where I'm deciding to secure the lights. I'm just going around and placing them where I feel comfortable that my lights will stay at the brim of the hat and not move around, because I want them to line the brim of the hat. Okay, and we're pretty much at the end here. We got this one last light, so I'm going to secure it right here. I'm securing it probably about an inch away from where the end of the last light is. Here's a little short one that we can use. And then since that one was short, we don't need to cut that off. We'll just tuck it up against the base of the hat. And so then after we put the lights around, that's what the bottom looks like. And then I don't know if you can see on camera, but there's our lights around the hat. And then I hope that you can see the lights inside. I'm not sure about that. So the inside of our hat is lit up. The brim of our hat is lit up. I'm still contemplating whether I want to. I wish my styrofoam was more secure. Maybe I'm going to add some more glue in there. Hold that for a few minutes. Oh, and the glue came through and got my finger. So be careful of that. You don't want to get burnt. Okay, let's let that dry for a few minutes. And then I guess now's the time to decide if I want to pull some of these lights up through to weave through the centerpiece. And I think that I might do that. This is entirely experimental. I've not done this previously, but I think that it would look good if we had some of this just pulled up. We'll see what we decide to do with this, but I'm going to just randomly pull up this amount of lights and see how we might be able to intermix that with our greenery or our flowers or something of that nature. Not going to attach them in any way. In case I decide I don't like it, I can just poke them back down through to the inside of the hat. And of course they're kind of tangled up from where I poked them in there. So maybe if I had pre-planned pulling these out the top, I would have put them in there a little straighter. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull, like, I got 2 hoops here. I'm gonna pull one to that side and one to this side to get them out of my way until I get started. I feel like our piece of styrofoam in there is good. And so I'm probably gonna start by adding a little bit of greenery. I'm going to cut these long to start with because I'm not sure how far down in I'm going to go to attach them or how high up I want them to stick yet. So till I figure that out, I'm going to go ahead and leave the stems as long as possible. And then cut off the tag. I'm sorry I keep taking my glasses on and off, but my nearsighted vision, seeing up close, I guess is farsighted. Can't see with my glasses, but far away I can't see without my glasses. Okay, and then these slide up and down a little bit, so we can adjust those as well. Okay, so that's what they look like. Fill my styrofoam down there. So I'm going to start. I have my glue pot heated up back here. I'm going to dip the stem in that because I want this first piece, I know for sure, to be longer. I'm just going to go down through there and try to secure it in the piece of styrofoam that's in there. And then the glue is going to also stick to this tinsel, which is going to help hold everything in place. So if you don't hit the styrofoam with every single thing that you put in, that will be okay. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do another one here in the middle. Like I said, I've not made this before. This is not pre-planned, so just be patient with me as we kind of work through this. Thought I would do this to give you an idea of how I do go about designing some of my things. Okay, So that's what we have to start with. And when we're doing this, when we're adding things, we need to keep in mind the front of our display is going to be where this buckle is. So we need to make sure that we're mindful that of designing this so that it looks just like we want it to from the front side. Okay. So then I want some pieces of greenery around the outside edge here as well, but those are not going to need to be as tall. I want those to be shorter. So I'm going to go ahead and snip this off, probably about an inch or so. Now that's definitely not going to reach the styrofoam, so we're going to make sure that we get that glued into this tinsel real good. But we want the middle of our centerpiece, this will be higher, and then we kind of want to come down with our design, so the outer side pieces are always shorter. Of course, there's a million ways to do this. That's just how I prefer to do it. So I'm going to make sure I've got that glue rubbed around real good in that tinsel there. And then this one I'm going to hold here for a minute to let it start drying. All these pieces of paper everywhere. Okay, so now I'll do another one for around the base. Cut it short again. And because I had a little trouble getting that last one to stick the way that I wanted it to, this time when I go into my glue pot, I'm going to go all the way up to this part that branches off, and I'm going to get a little bit of glue there too, because I think that's going to help it secure it better. Let it run down there to where I want it, and then I'll probably stick this one. I'm probably going to do about 4 of these around the outside edge to start with. That definitely helped. So if you do this project on your own, when you're doing these shorter pieces around the outside edge, go ahead and get the glue a little higher up onto your stems. Okay, looks like I used all of that one, so we'll grab another one. I have a light green and a dark green here, so I'm going to take probably a couple snippets from each. Actually, I want to keep it consistent, so maybe I will grab another light green and dark green mix. If I can remember where I put them. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not going to do that because I think I put them in the other room. That's okay. We'll improvise. I'm going to cut off one of the dark ones. Ooh, thank you. We were going to improvise, but my husband saved the day and brought me the mixed ones in. So what I was going to do, in case you only can find the dark and the light, and you want to have a mixture like this, you could take 2 pieces and put them in together and intertwine them to get it. What I was going to actually do is that these leaves will pull off. So I was just going to take a couple of the leaves, pull them off, and substitute them with a couple of the lighter colored leaves. That would have given me the same effect. But my husband saved me from some extra work, which I really appreciate. And so now we have the light and the dark. Okay, so I'm going to push that up, cut it off with just a short, about an inch long stem. Again, I'm going to get glue all the way up into this piece here because that did help secure it better. And my glue pot is really hot, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Okay, and then I said 4, but maybe we'll do 3. I'm going to do 1 here, and then we'll see if I need to go back and add more. So just hold that there for a minute and let it secure. Rub the glue around. I was talking about my glasses. I actually have bifocals, but I broke my glasses the other day, so now I have to get an appointment and go in and get new glasses. Okay, so that seems to be setting up. Still not going to do anything with the lights just yet, but I'm thinking about how I may do it. And then I think next, I'm going to come in with a couple taller, yeah, maybe we'll do the flowers first. Let's do the flowers first. Okay, so I'm going to intertwine, you know, there's a few different styles here. Some are more green, some have like a beige color to them, some are white, and I'm just going to intermix them to give us some nice contrast. And I'm just going to randomly start placing them in. Also, again, now I want these first ones I do to stand up kind of taller, so I'm going to leave the stems long. Hold my glue pot closer if I don't get burned. Good amount of glue on my stem. And then again, remembering where my front is right here. So I'm gonna go straight down in right here with this one. Hit the styrofoam just slightly. And then I think next I'll do this pretty green one. I'm gonna come over here kind of to the back on the opposite side. Trying to find my styrofoam. Now you could use a bigger piece of styrofoam in there to make it easier for you to find that. I didn't want to do that, but however, because I wanted to add the light and have a place to hide the battery pack in the finished project. Okay. And then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to use one with a shorter stem and come down here in the front, about right there. Using lots of glue, remembering that this is the front of my display. I'm going to go kind of at an angle with the flower. Hold it while the glue sets up, because again, we're not in the styrofoam. The glue that I use, my glue pot came from Amazon, and it's a Sure Bonder brand. And the glue that I use in my glue pot is also Sure Bonder. It seems to hold on these type of projects very, very well once it sets up. These flowers are kind of lightweight, so it doesn't take a lot to hold them, but that glue's worked well for me on all of my projects. Of course I say that, and now I'm having trouble getting this to set up. There we go. Okay, so again, here's the front of our display. That's what we have so far. I think I'm going to go ahead and maybe mix in a couple of our shamrock picks. Let me turn this around towards me so I can kind of see what it would look like. One kind of here in the middle, showing between these two flowers. Oh, let me get some glue. Okay, go down through. I want it right about there, just underneath these leaves, kind of above the flower. Okay. And then I feel like I need a white flower over here. I've got these two that are the same, so I need to add some contrast in there. I think I like this one better. Yeah. So I'm going to turn this around and stick one on that side. Forgot to load my comments again. So if anybody's leaving me comments and I'm not seeing them, I will try to get to them here in a minute. And if I don't during the live video, I will certainly answer you after the video. Okay, so we're into the styrofoam there. I want that one to kind of stand up. I've positioned it so that the one behind it is just a little bit higher, and then the one in front of it is just a little bit lower. And then I'm not sure if you can see, but here's the shamrock just under the leaves and just slightly above this flower behind it. Okay. And at this point, I think what I'm going to do with these wires is I'm just going to wrap them throughout the flowers and the greenery here. So really not on the outside of the design, but kind of inside all of the things that we're adding. So the light will kind of flow from inside of all of our stuff that we add. And this is wire lights, so doesn't really take a lot to get them to stay in there. I'm just wrapping them around the pieces of greenery and creasing them to get them to stay in there. So it just gives us a few lights up through the inside there. Here's the back where I haven't added a whole lot of stuff. Maybe you can see the lights in there better. And of course, once you get your project finished, you know, you can always go inside of there and reposition the lights, move them around. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then we'll keep adding. And we might do some of those berries towards the end. Let's do a little flower over here on this side. I thought I had one with a short stem here, but oh, here it is. So I have one here that already has a little short stem. I'm just going to add it in right here. And to give you an idea, I'm adding liberal amounts of glue so everything will hold nice. Try to get my comments to load while I'm waiting on that to dry a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to make sure I know where the front of my design is again. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do another pick, maybe sticking out this way, but shorter. I want it to kind of be down in a little bit more. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of it off and see if that's the length that positions it where I want it. I think right there would look cute. What we have so far. Now we definitely need to add on this side. We're getting this side over here is coming out nice and full, so we need to fill in this other side. And then I think I will do, not that one, I'm going to do a white one over here because I did a more green one on the opposite side. Again, I'm going to cut off a little bit because I want this further down in, but I don't want to cut off too much until I see what position it's going to sit in, and then I can cut more if I need to. Okay, so I want this one a little more towards the front. Down lower than the other two that's in there. It's sitting in there pretty nicely. Okay. And then I'm going to also try to poke a shamrock, get one to stand up right in that area, so I kind of have three. Maybe a little more over this way. The fuller your design gets, the more tricky it gets to fit things down inside because you're working with all that glue. Yeah, I like that position right there. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to pull this flower outward a little bit. There we go. So I just pulled this flower out to get it positioned the way that I want. Once they're secured in there good, you can work with them and bend the wires, the stems. Okay, now I'm going to move these flowers out of my way so that I don't get glue all over them. And then come down in just about like that. Hold it. Okay, I like that. So even though I can't see your comments, what do you think so far if you're watching? Even if you're watching on replay, comment, let me know what you think. Okay. So we need to fill in more And we also, we got this back here, which is completely bare. So I'm actually going to come in with another piece of greenery, another short piece, push it up. Cut it off. I still give myself a good bit of stem there so that it secures. Clicking on my computer, try to get my Patricia, thank you very much for sharing my video. I really appreciate it. That helps me so much. Patricia has been, she's a current customer, and she's been following my page basically since I started it. So I'm really, really grateful to you, Patricia. Hi, honey. Thank you for your help and all of your support as I learn how to do all this stuff. Bailing me out when I forget materials or decide I need materials I don't have, or I lose something. Okay, we're going to hold this for a minute. I'm going to actually pull that back out and rub some glue there, and then push it back down to let it dry. There we go. Now it's starting to set up. And then I'm not going to leave the back out. You want it to look beautiful all the way around, particularly if you use this as a centerpiece or like on a coffee table or something where it will be visible for all sides. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to also put a shamrock in here. I think first though I'm going to add a flower so I can place my shamrock around the flower. So we have a white one here, and I'm going to come in right here with the flowers. So I think I will switch back to the green, keeping our contrast. You could do this with a glue gun, but when you're working with these flower stems and picks and stuff, a glue pot is much, much, much easier. If you do this with a glue gun, try to get one, use one that has low temperature settings and not really hot, because your potential to get burnt is much greater working with these. Okay, so I'm going to push this one right about there. Just kind of layering them so that everything is still visible. And then I'm possibly... I think I want the shamrock poking out right about there. Let me get a lot of glue, because I feel like we're going to need a lot of glue to hold this. Okay. To hold it at the angle I want it anyway. Let's say it that way. Might even use this little leaf here to help me hold it. Okay, right there is where I want it. So I'm just going to hold it here for a minute. That's the angle I want. That's the placement I want. Okay, I think it's setting up. Alright, so let's look at the back and see what else we need. We can maybe do a couple shorter flowers. I'm going to come down here with a white because we have a lot of the green in the back. The stem will be shorter because we want it to sit in lower. Just snip it off. I also do not throw away these, you guys, and I'm going to show you here in just a minute why I do not throw those away. If you do crafts, I'm sure if you do a lot of crafting and have priced picks, various picks for various holidays, they can get very expensive. And so I use these to make my own picks for wreaths, centerpieces, all different types of things. I feel like I need more glue on this flower. I did not get enough. pot's getting hot again is why the glue is not as thick. I'm going to turn it off, let it thicken a little bit. That's another thing I do with my glue pot when I'm working on a project. If the glue starts to get too thin, turn it off and let it cool down so that the glue will thicken back up. And then if it gets too thick, I just click it back on. I do that with my glue gun and my glue pot. Messed up my flower. That's starting to set up now. And so this is what our bag looks like now. Maybe come in with another shamrock, a little one right here. And I'm gonna cut it off pretty short because I want it to sit down low. I'm just going to kind of tilt this. I'm pulling it kind of towards the back so that it'll be visible from the back side. I want my shamrocks all the way around. Okay, well, that looks pretty good to me so far. Okay, and then this is what we have on the front so far. The leg, we have a little bit of a hole right here. So I may try to come in with another flower there, or I could try to do some berries. I'm not sure that I really am liking this green with the greens that are in that, so I think I'm going to skip the berries. We'll do a flower. Let's see, we have white and white. I have, okay, so there's green here and green here and white, and I'm going to come in there with a white to even it up. Actually, I'm going to leave that stem a little bit longer because it's going to stand up higher. And my glue's already thickening up, which is really nice. It doesn't take long for it to cool down and heat up. Okay, yeah, I think that looks better. Might have this one pushed in too far. But boy, is he really fastened in there good. So maybe I'll leave him, because I think he's too short in contrast to everything else. But I'm going to probably leave him there and just come behind him with one that covers up in between this area. Just a little bit of this one off. If you get glue strings on your project, which you most certainly will, just pull them off. Okay, so we're going to come in between these two flowers here and fill in this gap that we have. He's starting to fill in and get nice and cute. Now I have some of these little gold coins I showed you at the beginning, and I am going to turn these into picks so that we can use them on this particular project. It'd be hard to place these without, I mean, I guess you could go into the top of your flowers or whatever. I prefer to have it uniform and actually put these on a pick. So in addition to these little pieces that I cut off that I told you I saved, sometimes when I buy the flowers from Dollar Tree, Hobby Lobby, or wherever, I use just the stem or just the flower. So I save all these little stems. You can turn this into a spray if you know what a spray is. Like Valentine sprays, for example, will be these wires that you can shape in all different directions and spread them out in your crafts. And they'll have glitter hearts on the end, or ribbon, you know, wrapped in ribbon or some type of material that matches your design. And these are great to use for that. I'm going, because these are longer, some of them, I'm going to actually use them and make pick to put in our centerpiece that we're making. So, and I probably will go ahead and maybe use a couple of the ones that we just cut off so I don't waste. And then I need another one that's a little bit longer. So this is probably my next longest one. And all we do to do this is, this is foam, very easy to poke a hole through. You could do this without adding glue. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the tip just to make it more secure, but you don't necessarily have to do that step. And then I'm just going to poke it right up through there. And then voila, we have a pretty gold coin pick to add to our design. So I'm going to lay that there and let it dry and go ahead and do these other ones. Go. Got maybe a little extra glue on that one. Okay, now we've got 4 really cute gold coin picks to add to our design. And we just used our leftovers. These gold coins come in a pack at the Dollar Tree. You get the, I think I mentioned at the beginning, you can get a pack. They probably have 15-20 pieces per pack, and they're foam shamrocks and these gold coins. And I just buy those packs, lots of them each year, and use them for my wreaths and my designs and making picks and things like this. Okay, so let's see. Here's the front. Need to decide where we want to add these. Here's the front. I definitely want to make sure that I have one showing here in the front. So I think I'm going to use this longer one and try to position it right in here. Get a healthy amount of glue, because this again is not going to reach clear down to where our styrofoam piece is. Now you can fill this up completely with the styrofoam so that all of your pieces go into styrofoam. I just wanted to experiment with the lights that I just got, and adding them and make it a lighted centerpiece. Okay, want it to sit right there, I think above, or right just slightly above the 2 shamrocks and underneath our tallest piece of greenery. Closer so you can see. So between the 2 shamrocks and just slightly below our tallest piece of greenery here. And then we need one. We need to make sure we can see one from the back. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it around. Remove the glue strings and put those back in my glue pot. Recycle the glue as well. Okay, and I think maybe right here for this one. Let's see. So I want to go, yeah, that's going to sit in there just fine. Let's get a healthy amount of glue. Let it roll down the stem here. I'm going to move my flower out of the way again so that I don't glue my flower. And push that right down in there where I want it. Right about there. So it too is just under our tallest piece of greenery in the back, but up above our flowers and just off to the right of our shamrock. And now we have 2 more of these. I would like for them to sit lower. Of course, we need to fan out our greenery a little bit here, it looks like. Let me decide where I want to put these. Let's see, where's the front? Always remember where your front is when you're designing these. I'm having trouble deciding where I want this. I think I'm going to do it, I want it to sit lower because I already have two higher. So I think I'm going to just kind of tuck it right in there, kind of hidden a little bit, but still visible behind this flower and this greenery, just to give a pop of color in that area. Be careful if you're using a glue pot not to touch your foam, shamrocks, coins, or whatever you're using to the pot, because that will cause them to melt. Speaking from experience again, I've done that before. Okay, so I think that I was going to come in right here and add this. And this, I know I've spun this thing around and around, but I ended up back in the back. So I'm adding this kind of just slightly in between the greenery here above the flower, because I want, you know, these little pops of color to be nicely distributed. And I think I might add one here in the front, like down low. So actually my stem that I added, I could have used a smaller piece and used up one of those, but instead I'll just trim the one I used off. Save this for the future. And then push this down in here and see how I like it. I like it there, but it's not laying the way that I want, so I'm going to keep finagling with it. I think I'm going to add a piece of greenery there before I add the coin in, because I feel like I need more filler there. Push these up. And just a short little stem. Maybe I won't even put the gold coin there. Maybe I'll just use the greenery there. Trial and error is how I do this. Sometimes I do a complete project and just start it all over again. I like how this one's coming together though. I think this is going to be pretty. Now I'm going to take some of this greenery and push up into the middle here, because I feel like it's too much around the outside edge. So I'm going to use some of it in between, have it poke out in between the flowers up here. And I think I'm going to put this gold coin right in the middle of that greenery. Just like that. So separate my leaves. Sometimes these come stuck together, which is the case with that one. I think it's starting to look pretty good all the way around. One thing I want to do is add up here, I'm going to add some more tall greenery. I feel like this is too open and empty. We need to fill that in. And I'm actually going to use a piece of the dark and a piece of the light together to fill that in. That will be good. There we go. Maybe even just a little bit lower. Okay. So that filled in. We no longer have the gap at the top. That looks really good. This is the front side. I'm really happy with the way that that looks. But I come back here and I have a lot of greenery up here without anything. So I feel like I need to add either a taller flower or a shamrock or something like that in that area. I think my answer is probably going to be a flower. Yeah. I let my glue get a little too thick. Ooh. And that's what I've been saying not to do. Okay. There. That fills that in nicely. Creates a nice little view from the back as well as the front. Now I'm going to hold this up and I see we've got an area over here that needs something. So I'm going to come in here with some more of the greenery. One thing I'm noticing about this greenery, this is the first time I've used it, is that where they applied the glitter to the leaves, it stuck together. I don't think they let it dry sufficiently before they package them up or whatever they do. Doesn't seem to be tearing though when I'm pulling it apart, which is a good thing. So it's pretty good quality material. Okay, so I'm going to snip this off. And I'm going to actually pull these little pieces off this time, off of the main stem, and just tuck them in like that. I think it'll give us more of a filling effect, and we don't really need the height, so it should work okay. Although this plastic is kind of hard to push down in there. just gonna kind of work with it. Okay, and then put a light green leaf in there. That fills in. Now I'm going to do a little more right here in this area, and I'll probably go all the way around the base looking for areas around the outside that might need more greenery. Remember, if you're watching on the replay, you can still leave me questions or suggestions or feedback in the comments, and I will get back to you. I try to check them daily or every couple days. I found a place I can stick this in at. There we go. And now that's filled in nicely as well. Alright, I come on around. I think I need some greenery in this section here, so I'm going to do that. And then right here as well. And I think that's it. Once we do those two spots, that'll be it for the greenery. And then we just need to make a bow. Now again, I'm using light green and mixing it with the dark green for this part. So I'm going to use one piece of the dark green and one piece of the light green in each section. Alright, go ahead and separate these leaves. Okay. Do that. Okay, here we go. You're coming first with some light green. There's no pattern or set way that you have to do. That's just whatever's attractive to you. I like to make sure it's nice and full and starts from the top and tapers down. There's no requirement for that there. That's just my personal preference. That's nice and filled in. Yep. The other section's up here in the front. Actually, I don't know know if I need to add, yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and add this little piece of light green in there too. Definitely got my fingers in the glue. Okay, and then that's what it looks like from the front. Okay, let me take a look. Yes, I'm pretty pleased with the overall design and the thickness, fullness. Tweak my coins and my shamrocks a little bit. So this is the back. And the sides. There's our front. Our other side. I'm happy with that. I think it looks good all the way around. So the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little tiny bow for it. And I'm going to put the bow kind of on the side of the brim right here. I'm going to go ahead and turn these lights off. Now, before I do that though, I'll hold it up here. I don't know if you can see inside of there any of the lights, but it is lighting up the inside of the floral arrangement, so that's really cute. There we go. Now it's off, and I'm going to go ahead and tuck the battery pack up inside. Okay. Just to show you, it fits right up in there nicely, and then the wires here, so you can pull it right back out when you need to turn it on or off or change your batteries. Okay, and then to make the bow, this is going to be a very tiny bow, so I have, it's probably my most difficult bow to do. It's a small one. I'm using 3 different ribbons, and then I'm also going to use my Easy Bow Maker. I love this because it holds my ribbons for me while I'm trying to make the bow. And I decided, because the brim of the hat is not real big, I decided I'm not going to do a full double-sided bow. I'm going to do what is called a half bow with some little short tails to add right there. And I'll show you what I mean by that. First thing we're going to do though, this ribbon is, I'm going to use this dark green first as the background. And this is 5/8 of an inch wide. And this roll was 3 yards long. I would love to tell you where this came from. It looks like the original price was $2.99. But year before last, I bought a huge lot of Valentine or St. Patrick's Day ribbon from someone, and these rolls were all included with that. So I'm not sure where this came from. But you wouldn't even have to necessarily have 5/8 of an inch. As long as it's a smaller ribbon, because we're working on a smaller design, you could use that. I'm going to start. These are not wired ribbons either. I know I normally only work with wired, but given the size of the bow and things, I think it'll still work just fine with the smaller ribbon. I think the wider wired ribbon would have been too big. So we just dovetail the end and give it a nice little finished edge. I'm just going to slide that there for a minute. Then we're also going to use this really pretty ribbon. This was $3.99 originally, and it is also 5/8 of an inch wide, and 3 yards came on the roll. This may be a Hobby Lobby ribbon. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it might have. It came in that lot I buy, so I can't be sure either. So I'm going to do the dovetail, but I'm going to explain it a little better this time. You're going to just fold your ribbon in half, lining up the 2 outer edges, once you get those lined up nicely, you're just going to cut from the folded edge to the open edge, and you're going to cut at an upward angle. So just when you do that at an angle like that and open it up, you have the nice little V. And I'm going to go ahead and dovetail the ends of each of my ribbons before I start. This one is 3/8 of an inch wide. This is going to be our top ribbon, so I chose one that's a little bit smaller. It was originally $2.99, and I'm not sure where it came from either. Let's go ahead and dovetail. I've never dovetailed a ribbon this small, so this might take a minute. Those little shamrocks are painted on there too, which makes it difficult to fold. Cut at an angle. It's a little crooked, but it's still cute. I might try to fix that more once we get done to even it up. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do in making my half bow is, this ribbon is only designed on one side. So I'm gonna put it in here and figure out, I want a 4-inch tail on it. My tails probably do not need to be 4 inches, but I'll make them a little longer than I'm gonna need, because I can always cut some off, but I can't add more to. So I'm at 4, just a little over 4. And then you have to, once you figure out where your tail's gonna start, you have to twist the ribbon before you place it in your Easy Bow Maker or whatever you're using, a clip or whatever you're using to hold your ribbon. And that is so that when you make your loop for your bow, your pretty side will be up. Now, we gotta hold this ribbon still because it wants to move all over the place. And then we're just gonna make a loop. Think, you probably do like 3 inches, between 2.5 and 3 inches on the loop. I'm going to push this down in here real good so that it will hopefully hold it in place. And then measure this out to where your tail should be at 4 inches. And then cut it off. Now we're going to also dovetail that in, but I'm not going to do it right now because if I move it around too much in here, this really thin ribbon is going to just come out and mess up my design. So I'll dovetail that when I'm all finished. Okay, so then we're going to take our second ribbon. Put it in here, find out where the 4 inches is. Again, this pattern is only on one side of the ribbon, so we need to twist it. Now, if you're doing this by hand, if you don't have a clip or anything to use, you can determine how long you want your tail, twist it and hold it where that tail is, and then just make your loop and pinch it together. And you can come up with the same thing. Matter of fact, I might just use that, clip this off about where a 4-inch tail would be, and then just, I'm going to press it down in here. Because one thing I'm not good at is holding all my ribbons together in my hands. Okay, so now we have 2 loops and 4 tails. And this is what they mean by a half bow. You have loops on one side, not the other side. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the green that we started with, dovetail it again, fold it in half, crease it, and then cut at an angle from the folded side to the open side. And open it up, nice little V shape. I'm going to keep these tails at 4 inches. And then I need to twist so that when I make my loop, my pattern side is up. Make my loop. Now this time I'm going to make this loop just a little bit smaller than the previous ones. Press it down in there real good and cut off my tail at close to 4 inches. Whoops, that didn't cut very well. Okay, now I'm done with that one, so I'm gonna move it out of the way. And I wanna do another loop with the second ribbon that we used. So we're gonna have 2 of the 5/8 inch green shamrock ribbon and 2 of this, which is also 5/8 inch. Dovetail. Make a 4-inch tail and twist it to keep the pretty side up. I like to give it a really good twist so that it doesn't come undone when I put it down in here, which I don't know if you can see it on the camera angle, but they are already trying to pop up out of there. Make my loop. And I'm gonna make this one too a little bit smaller, trying to make it about the size of the second green one that I did. The Easy Bow Maker really helps with measuring and trying to keep things even and uniform in the way that you want them. Okay, cut off the tail. Move that one out of our way because we're done with it. And now we're going to use the smaller one, 3/8 inch. Again, a 4-inch tail. Twist to keep the pretty side up when we do our loop. Hold it all in there, nice and firm. The small ribbon will really move around. It's kind of like a satin, so it's slippery. I'm going to do it a little bit smaller than just the last 2 that we did. Push it all down in there. Cut off the tail. And now we are going to also recycle some more of these. Now I'm going to use these to tie my half bow and attach it to the hat. These pieces are a little bit too small for that, so what I'm going to do is crisscross them over each other and twist them together to make them one piece. This is another way that we can repurpose all those ends that we cut off when we're making our deco mesh wreaths. And then you have one, and as you can see, it's really sturdy. That's probably long enough. So then we reach into our bow dabra, keeping all of that ribbon pushed tight. Get up under on both sides, sliding it up slowly while keeping it all pinched nice and tightly together. If you let go of this, you have to start the process all over. Then we're gonna wrap our pipe cleaner that we just made or put back together and fold these forward, these tails forward, and we're going to twist this really tight to hold all this ribbon together. And then we are left with 2 little stems to attach it to our hat. Kind of fluff out your loops a little bit. These tails are probably way too long, but that's okay. Like I said, I would rather have too long and cut them off. Okay, here's the front of our hat. So I'm going to place it over here on the, I'm not sure which side. You can put it on either side that you want to, honestly. Okay, so then we're just going to poke pipe cleaners down through there, like that. Then we have, I'm going to do this carefully, try to show you the pipe cleaners coming out on the other side. You're just going to twist those tightly to secure that bow in there. And then I am not going to cut those any shorter. I'm just going to take those and push them right up inside like that and just pinch it down to make it flat. Okay, and So then we have this cute little bow. I'm going to fluff it out. Hope you can see. I'm going to put a green one to that side and a white one to this side, and then the next two opposite. And then put our little one just kind of right there in the middle. And then that's what our little half bow looks like. This is how it looks from the front. And then you have these tails that are super long if it's sitting on the table. So I'm going to trim all of those off. And dovetail the ones that are not dovetailed. Okay. So maybe if you're doing this, maybe not dovetail in the beginning the way that I did, because now I'm going to cut all these off and I'm going to have to dovetail again. So it's kind of unnecessary work. I want them to lay out on the table a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm going to cut it down to probably right about there. So you can see. And I'm going to fold it in half. Decide where I'm going to cut. Cut at an angle, making sure that I'm cutting at the right angle from the folded side to the open side, so that as I cut off the piece I don't need, I get the dovetail that I'm looking for. Okay, so these little pieces, I think I'm just going to cut them at an angle instead of trying to dovetail them. It still gives it a nice finished edge. That's a little bit easier than trying to fold that tiny piece of ribbon in half. Okay. And I think the green one underneath here might leave a little bit longer so I can have my tails at varying sizes. This painted ribbon, these shamrocks are painted on here. It also is a little more difficult to fold to do your dovetail. So you just have to be patient with it. And I just did, let me show you what you don't do when you're dovetailing. I cut it at the wrong angle. So instead of it having a V going to the inside, my V is going to the outside, which is not nearly as nice looking. So now we'll recut that one. At the right angle. Okay. And you could make your loops, your bow, you can make as many loops as you want, you can make it as big as you want. You could do one on each side. And for those of you watching, yes, I just did the wrong angle twice in a row. Now this ribbon here is not painted or glittered, so it's a little bit easier to cut. Yes, I'm doing the right angle. Okay. Of course, you could leave these tails longer, laying on your table if you wanted to. I just think it would make the project more uniform if I trim them. And I'm not really doing a set length. I'm just choosing what I think would look good and trying to stagger them. So some are a little longer than others, some a little shorter than others. now I'm just going to spread these out a little. And that's what our cute little half bow looks like. You could always do a full bow or do more loops. You could do 2 of them and set them like back to back to make it fuller and fill up the whole side. You could do 1 on each side if you wanted to. But there it is with our little bow. I think it turned out absolutely adorable. If you would be interested in this, it will be available in my Etsy shop probably sometime tomorrow after I have a chance to take pictures. Okay, and then I just wanted to remind everybody about my giveaway. I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but just a reminder for those of you who stuck with me through learning how to make this. This wreath up here, it's on my Facebook page, karlaskleverkrafts. There will be a live drawing on my live video Saturday at 6:30 p.m. to announce the winner. All you have to do is follow my page, karlaskleverkrafts, on Facebook, like and share this post announcing the giveaway, and then comment underneath that post saying that you have done those 3 things. You will be entered into the drawing for a chance to win. It's a 30-inch wreath, very full, about 8 inches thick. And then if you would please, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you could like and share my video, that greatly helps me. Patricia, again, thank you for watching and for sharing it. And then if you are watching it on Facebook on a replay, if you could please comment replay underneath to let me know that you watch it, and also tell me where you're from. I'm interested in trying to see how far out, you know, how many viewers and their locations of where my videos are reaching. And then if you're on YouTube watching, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll receive notifications of my new videos when I upload them. Also like and share this post so that you can find it later and make your own centerpiece. And of course, there's a variety of things you can do. You don't have to do it exactly the way that I did mine. You can add different embellishments, different flowers. These are carnations. You know, maybe you could find green roses or a different type of flower and do that. So have fun with it. I hope somebody does. If anybody makes this project, please come back and put me a picture in the comments so that I can see it. Thank you guys very much for watching. And then as always, for the people who watch my page, if you do decide to purchase from me on Etsy, as a thank you for watching my videos, you can use Facebook Live thank you, all one word, and get 20% off of any item in my Etsy store. And that will include this really cute little centerpiece that we just made. Okay, you guys have a great night. Thank you.